welcome to a new episode of the How to VGC series. Today we're going to talk about some general team building principles for VGC. So this includes things like the VGC format and how it works, as well as things like speed control and most commonly used items. So first up is the VGC format. So in VGC, you have 6 Pokemon on your team, and you can see my example team over there on the left side. And for every game, you can only bring 4 of those Pokemon, and you pick those 4 Pokemon after seeing your opponent's team in the team preview phase. So you get to see your opponent's team, and then you can select the 4 Pokemon that you think would best be able to handle that team in a game, and you bring only those 4 with you. Something to keep in mind is that you cannot repeat Pokemon or items, and this includes regional variants. So if you bring Kanto Articuno, for example, you cannot also bring the Galarian form of Articuno. And the same thing holds true for items. You can't have 2 Pokemon with Life Orb, for example, on your team. Something else to keep in mind for VGC battles is that Pokemon will all be set to level 50. So if your Pokemon is level 100 or level 50, it doesn't matter. All of your Pokemon stats will be leveled down to level 50. And something else to keep in mind is that the list of Pokemon that are banned change every few months with a new series. Currently in Series 7, there are a lot of legendaries that are allowed, including the birds, for example, Articuno, Moltres, Zapdos, but there are Pokemon that are still banned, not allowed. This includes all the mythical Pokemon as well as restricted legendaries. So those are box art legendaries like Zacian and Zamazenta, for example. So next up is some general team building ideas. The first one I kind of want to talk about is when you're building a team, it's important to think about what role each Pokemon will play on your team. And there's some kind of general categories that we put these Pokemon into. So, for example, you might have a support Pokemon who's really not built to deal any damage, but they instead support your more offensive sweepers. So these are Pokemon like Clefairy or Togekiss that might use Follow Me, or Pokemon like maybe Amoonguss, which can also use Spore in addition to Rage Powder, so it has that sort of attack redirection as well as the ability to inflict statuses on the opposing Pokemon team. And then you'll have the Pokemon that are a little bit more offensively built, and these generally come in 2 types. You've got your sort of bulkier Pokemon that have a lot of HP, they have a lot of defense, they can take a lot of hits and stay on the field for a long time, and you have your Pokemon that are sort of glass cannons, as we say, or sweepers. You know, these are generally faster Pokemon, but that comes at the cost with some frailty. So they're maybe really fragile. They might be a Pokemon you might want to run Focus Sash on, for example, but they're going to pack a lot of power and hit really hard, and they're generally quite fast. Something else to think about with your Pokemon is what their type is and how their typing interacts, and we call this sort of type cores. This just means that you have a core of a few Pokemon that can switch in and out to take hits that other Pokemon on the team may not be able to take. So let's use Fire, Water, and Grass, for example. Water types are resistant to fire, but grass types, it's a super effective hit again. So let's say that you've got a grass type Pokemon on the field on your side of the field, and the other side of the field has a fire type Pokemon that you expect to hit your grass type Pokemon with a super effective attack. What you might do, instead of sacrificing that grass type Pokemon or protecting or something like that, what you might do is you might switch that grass type Pokemon out and switch in a water or fire type that will be able to take that fire type hit better, because water and fire both resist fire type attacks. So they'll take half as much damage from what the move normally does, but they'll take a quarter of as much damage as what the grass type Pokemon would take, because the grass type Pokemon would have been a super effective hit. So it's helpful to be able to have this sort of typing coverage so that if you need to switch out a Pokemon to preserve it, you have that option. Something else to think about as well is ability synergy. So every Pokemon on a team has an ability, and it's important to think about how these abilities might interact with each other. So, for example, it could be harmful if you had 2 Pokemon out at the same time. Let's say you had a Torkoal with the Drought ability out at the same time as a Water-type Pokemon with Water-type attacks. We know that intense harsh sun will reduce the power of Water-type attacks by 1/2 and increase the power of Fire-type moves by 2. So it's great for Torkoal to be in the sun with that drought ability because its fire type attacks are going to hit twice as hard. But that water type Pokemon, its water type attacks are going to do half as much damage as they otherwise would. So in this case, that's a bad synergy, and it would not be a good idea to build a team that revolved around having these two Pokemon out on the field at the same time. An example of an ability synergy that works really well is, let's say you have an Earthquake user such as Metagross on the field at the same time as a Pokemon with the ability Levitate. Now, Pokemon with the ability Levitate are essentially flying type Pokemon. It means that ground type moves don't hit them. What that means is that your Earthquake user, Metagross, can spam Earthquake all day and not have to worry about doing damage to its partner, because Earthquake is a move that doesn't just affect the two opposing opponents, it also affects your ally on your side of the field. So if you pair an Earthquake user with a flying type Pokemon or a Pokemon with Levitate, that's really great synergy because you can use Earthquake without having to worry about protecting or hitting your partner. So something else to think about is speed control, and this includes anything that you use to gain a speed advantage over your opponent. So we know that Pokemon generally, in a normal battle, Pokemon with a higher speed are going to be able to attack before Pokemon with a lower speed. And this is really important because if you can attack first, you could potentially take out an opposing Pokemon before it gets a chance to damage your Pokemon, thereby giving you more momentum and allowing you to preserve your Pokemon longer versus your opponent. Now, speed control can consist of things that give your Pokemon a speed boost, but it can also consist of things like Trick Room. And remember, Trick Room means that slower Pokemon go first before faster Pokemon. So if you have Pokemon that are really, really slow and aren't going to outspeed most things, even with a lot of speed boosts, Trick Room is the way to go. Now, you might have Pokemon that are somewhat fast, but not super fast, or they're in sort of this middle tier where they're not great in Trick Room. Something that you could do instead is use a move like Tailwind, and Tailwind doubles the speed of both of the Pokemon on your side of the field for 5 turns. A similar thing that you can do is use Pokemon with flying type moves and then Dynamax them. If you use the Max Airstream move, you raise the speed stat of each Pokemon on your side of the field by 1 stage. And every stage increase is a 50% increase in the stat. So if you manage to get 2 Max Airstreams off while you're Dynamaxed, then the Pokemon on your side of the field will have their speed increased by 2 stages, which is 100%, meaning that it's basically the same as a Tailwind. It has essentially doubled your speed stat. Other more niche ways that you could maybe make use of speed control is you could use moves like Icy Wind or Bulldoze. Both of those moves will lower the speed stat of the Pokemon that they hit by 1 stage. Although it's important to keep in mind that Bulldoze, for example, will hit every Pokemon on the field, including your ally Pokemon. So be sure to cover for that if you don't want your ally Pokemon to have its speed dropped by 1 stage. And finally, you can do things like have a Pokemon with the Prankster ability. Now, the Pokemon with the Prankster ability allows status moves to have their priority increased by +1, which means that it's for the most part going to be using its status moves before anything else on the field goes. And one of those status moves is the move Quash. And Quash means that the Pokemon that I use this move on will go last in its priority bracket, regardless of speed. And so if I have a Pokemon with Prankster and a Pokemon with Quash at the same time, I will be able to go first before most other Pokemon because my Quash now has a priority of +1. And then I will be able to choose which Pokemon will go last on the field. And that can be really critical too if you're pairing that with a slightly slower Pokemon. And finally, we need to talk about commonly used items in VGC. And it's important to think about what items your Pokemon are going to make use of sort of while you're building the Pokemon out, while you're thinking of its moveset and its IV and EV spread and its ability and all of these things. It's important to consider all of these aspects of your Pokemon sort of all together at once instead of going one at a time through each, because they can kind of interact in important ways. So, for example, berries. Berries is the first thing we'll talk about, and there are a couple different types. So there's the citrus berry, which you can use on any Pokemon, and once your Pokemon has 50% or less of its HP left, it will be healed for 25% of that HP. So it's important to consider with a berry like this, for example, that you want your Pokemon to have a lot of HP. You generally are going to put a citrus berry on a very bulky Pokemon for that reason. Same thing with the berries that heal for 33% of your health once you get down to 25% health. I typically don't use these often on Pokemon, but these are things like the Ayapapa berry, for example. Keep in mind that for each of these types of berries, it's important to note what your nature is, because if your Pokemon has a certain nature, it may be confused if it eats a certain type of berry. There are also berries that reduce the damage done of a certain type of move. So for example, if your Pokemon is holding a Shuka berry, it will have damage from ground type moves halved, cut in half. Same thing with the Colbur berry, it reduces the damage of dark type moves by half, and this can be a really great way to cover for your Pokemon's common resistances. So for example, Heatran is a Pokemon that's fire and steel type, meaning it has a 4 times weakness to ground, and very commonly, Heatrans will run Shuka Berry as its item, specifically to help alleviate that weakness to ground. The last kind of berry to think about also is berries that heal status conditions. So this includes things like the Lum Berry, which will heal any status condition applied to the Pokemon, and it's especially helpful to combat things like sleep, to ensure that you get a move off, even if the opposing Pokemon tries to sleep you. Another common type of item is the choice items. And the choice items are kind of special. What they do is they increase the stat at the cost of making sure that your Pokemon has to use the same move every single turn. So for example, the choice scarf will increase the speed of your Pokemon. It'll make it a little bit faster. But once you select a move, the first time your Pokemon is out on the field, your Pokemon must use that same move every single time unless it Dynamaxes or it leaves the field and comes back. Every time your Pokemon is taken out of the field and then comes back out onto the field, it can choose another move. So it's kind of useful sometimes with choice items to have a move like U-turn or Volt Switch, some kind of switching move, so that if you find that you're in a bad matchup from the start, you can use that switching move and then come back out later and select a different move if you need to. So the choice scarf, as I said, will raise speed. There's also sort of power raising choice items. So the choice band will raise physical attack and choice specs will raise special attack. And it has the same restrictions as the choice scarf, where you can only use the same move every turn. So those were 2 kind of categories of items. There are some other very commonly used items, and those are things like the Assault Vest, which increases your special defense at the cost of you not being able to use any status moves. And the most important result of that is that Pokemon with the Assault Vest do not have the ability to protect. So it's important to keep in mind that if you have an Assault Vest on your Pokemon, it will never be able to use Protect. Other items that sort of power up the damage dealing potential of your Pokemon are things like the Life Orb. So the Life Orb increases the power your Pokemon is going to do by 1.3 times, but it's going to take 10% of your HP every turn. And the weakness policy has a similar kind of catch-22. It'll increase your attack and your special attack by +2 stages, essentially doubling it, but it will only be activated once you're hit with a super effective move. So it's common to see weakness policy used on Pokemon that are very bulky and can take a super effective attack and still have a substantial amount of HP left in order to deal damage over the next few turns. And there are other items that will help sort of preserve your Pokemon and keep it alive and on the field longer, and this includes things like Focus Sash. So what Focus Sash does is if your Pokemon is at full health, maximum HP, and an opposing Pokemon uses a move on your Pokemon that would otherwise kill it, it will live with 1 HP left every time, guaranteed. And this can be really crucial for maybe support Pokemon that you want to make sure they get a move off, or more frail Pokemon that are very powerful and you want them to get as many hits in as possible. Another item is Leftovers, and Leftovers will heal your Pokemon for a certain amount of HP at the end of every single turn. So it's not always super helpful in VGC just because VGC battles are typically much shorter than single battles, for example. It's typically helpful on Pokemon that are very bulky and built to stick around for a long time to make the most use of those Leftovers effects. So Leftovers can commonly be used on Pokemon like Tapu Fini, for example, sometimes uses Leftovers, or even something like Ferrothorn, which can make use of Leftovers plus Leech Seed to get even more passive healing every single turn. There's also the item Safety Goggles. So Safety Goggles is kind of interesting. It will remove damage from weather. So Hail and Sandstorm, for example, will not damage any Pokemon with the Safety Goggles as its item, but the most important use is that it blocks powder moves, specifically moves like Spore and Sleep Powder, which can be very critical in metas in which sleep is very, very common. So that was just an overview of some important team building principles that you can keep in your mind as you're trying to build a Pokemon team for competitive or VGC, as well as a quick overview of some common techniques for speed control and some commonly used items to hopefully give you some ideas about what you might be able to make use of on your own team. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, or you can check out the Twitch link in my description if you want to come find me while I'm live and ask me questions there. If you liked this video and you want to see more like it, feel free to like and subscribe. Until next time, y'all. Bye.